So in this video I'm going to be working through some rounding to significant figures example questions. The first example says round the following to three significant figures. So we've got three numbers here and we're being asked to round them to three significant figures. We've got 134,567, 9,873 and 0.3569. So looking at part A, we want to round all of these to three significant figures. So what that means is, when we've got a whole number, we look for the first three numbers. So here's the first one, the second one and the third one. And then as we've got three significant figures, we're going to draw our line after the three numbers. And looking at our fourth number, the number that comes after the line, if that is greater than or equal to 5, it will round this number up here. And if it's 4 or less, it will keep this number the same. So as we've got a 5 here, that's going to round this 4 to a 5. So our first three numbers are going to be 1, 3 and then 5. And then after that, we've got three numbers here, and they're all going to become zeros. And that is 134,567 rounded to three significant figures, as these are our three numbers that are our significant figures. Looking at part B, we've got 9,873. So we're again going to look at our first three numbers. So there's our first, second and third, and we're going to draw our line after our first three numbers. This number after the line is a 3, so it's going to keep the 7 as a 7, so it's going to be 9, 8, 7, and then the 3 gets replaced with a 0. And that's our answer for part B. Looking at part C, we've got 0.3569, and when we have a decimal, the 0 here does not count. So any 0 before numbers doesn't count, okay? So we start counting at our first non-zero digit. So 3 is our first non-zero digit, and we want three significant figures. So there's our first, second and third. Drawing our line at the third one, this 9 is above 5, so it's going to round this 6 to a 7. So it's going to become 0.357 and then a 0. And we don't need to write the 0 at the end here because it doesn't change the number. So it's going to be 0.357 to three significant figures. Looking at some further examples, it says round the following to two significant figures. So we need to look at the first two numbers, draw our line. We've got a 5 after the line, so it's going to round the 4 up to a 5, and then we're going to have to replace the 5 with a 0 to give us 750. Looking at part B, we've got 0.0135. So again, we're dealing with a decimal here, and we start at our first non-zero digit. So we're going to be starting at the 1. So looking at the first two numbers, that's 1, 3, drawing our line. It's a 5, so it's going to round the 3 up to 0.014, and we don't need to bother about a 0 there. So that's our answer there. Part C, we've got 1.95434. So here we're going to start at 1 because that's our first non-zero digit. So 1, 2, looking at drawing our line and looking at the number after the line, this 5 is going to round the 9 up to 10. So it's actually going to become 2.0. Because when we round this 1.9 up, that becomes 2, and we're going to have the point 0, so that counts as our two significant figures. And that's our answer for C. Looking at some further examples, part A says 19.9251, and this time we're wanting to round to 5 significant figures. So we can start at the 1 here, because that's our first non-zero digit. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, drawing our line after our fifth number. Looking at the 1, it's not going to round this 5 up, so our answer is going to be 19.925. Part B says round to 5 significant figures, 925.3854. So 5 significant figures, we're going to count 5 numbers. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Drawing our line, looking at the 5 here, that's the number after our line. That's going to round the 8 up to a 9. So it's going to become 925.39. And that's our answer to part B. Looking at part C, we've got 784,018. So again, we're going to have a look at 5 numbers because we're wanting to round to 5 significant figures. So that's 78401. That's our 5th number, drawing our line. That's the number after the line is an 8, so it's going to round our 1 up to a 2. So it's going to become 784,000, and the 1 becomes a 2, and then we're going to have to put a 0 on the end as well. And that is our answer to 5 significant figures. So hopefully now you can round to significant figures.